Renegade Immortal Episode 56. The mysterious elder Wang Lin encountered was powerful beyond comprehension. Even the top 7 experts of the Baiyun Sect were not qualified to assist him. During Wang Lin's meditation, he unexpectedly met an elder who appeared ordinary but was deeply unfathomable. This elder not only showed Wang Lin how to break through to the divine realm, but also demonstrated the ability to teleport a million years ahead in an instant. What followed left Wang Lin completely astonished. The elder casually displayed his power, breaking Baiyun Sect's mountain protection array with ease. 30 practitioners of the Yuan Ying's 7th stage, including 5 Divine Realm experts, immediately flew out to confront him. Wang Lin was taken aback, realizing this lineup could easily overpower any third-level cultivation country. As the practitioners locked onto Wang Lin and the elder with their spiritual senses, the straw hats worn by the two suddenly emitted dazzling golden light, neutralizing the attacks instantly. The elder then pinched his right hand, and the golden light transformed into a fierce Golden-Winged Roc. With a flap of its wings, the practitioners were rendered completely defenseless. At that moment, a middle-aged man flew forward, demanding an explanation for the attack on their array. The elder pointed to Wang Lin and stated that he was merely the fighter and that Wang Lin had brought him there. The middle-aged man, still wary of the elder, cautiously asked Wang Lin if Baiyun Sect had offended him. With a calm expression, Wang Lin explained that he had come to challenge the sect's Divine Realm experts. He formed a hand seal, sending out a flying sword towards the middle-aged man. The man, seeing that Wang Lin was only at the Yuan Ying stage, sneered and summoned a giant purple dragon to attack. Just as Wang Lin was about to dodge, the elder's voice reassured him that there was no need to avoid the attack, encouraging him to experience the essence of Divine Realm cultivation. Wang Lin hesitated for a moment, recalling memories of meeting the elder before, but eventually stood still. As the purple dragon lunged, the elder casually pinched his hand, and Wang Lin felt a light breeze pass by without discomfort. The sensation of cold detachment spread throughout his body, even affecting the middle-aged man. Wang Lin understood this was part of the man's hidden technique. Shortly after, the elder waved his hand, dispelling a cloud of purple energy from Wang Lin's head, to the visible dismay of the middle-aged man. The man, realizing the elder's immense power, questioned if the elder was helping Wang Lin break through the Yuan Ying stage. The elder merely smiled and pointed to an old jade by his side, instructing him to step forward. The jade retorted, stating that despite the elder's high cultivation, Baiyun Sect was not a place to meddle. The elder, growing impatient, retrieved a black wooden token from his storage bag and threw it to the jade, who gasped in shock upon realizing it was the ancestral spirit token. The middle-aged man, also stunned, immediately showed respect, asking if the elder intended to use the token to exchange for a Divine Realm expert from the Baiyun Sect. The elder glanced proudly at Wang Lin and picked his nose before urging, "Stop talking nonsense. Let's start quickly." The old jade nodded respectfully and exhaled a fragrant pink spiritual energy that enveloped Wang Lin. Instantly, Wang Lin felt a sense of laziness overwhelm his heart, as if all his thoughts of killing and determination to reach the divine realm became distant and vague. The entire world seemed indifferent and meaningless. However, just at that moment, the blood sphere of murderous aura that Wang Lin had condensed earlier flew out from his storage bag and entered his body. In an instant, the strong murderous aura felt like a cold shower pouring over him, waking him up immediately. The old jade snorted coldly, clearly not expecting such an outcome, and withdrew the pink spiritual energy. At the same time, Wang Lin took a deep breath, thinking that if not for the blood sphere, he might have been completely lost in the elder's essence. From that moment, Wang Lin not only maintained his original caution towards Divine Realm experts, but became even more wary. The elder then pointed to another old man dressed in green and said, "Your essence is quite unique. After experiencing it, we will no longer bother you." However, the old man in green, with a thunderous expression, responded, "My essence? He won't be able to withstand it." The elder raised an eyebrow and replied, "Nonsense. With me by his side, even if Baiyun Sect's head himself comes, I can handle it." Hearing this, the old man in green said no more, forming hand seals with both hands, and a flying sword shot out from between his eyebrows. At the same time, a fierce aura of desolation rushed toward Wang Lin. In the next second, the flying sword was already in front of Wang Lin, and he felt his spiritual energy draining rapidly, as if his life force was slipping away. The strange essence affected only his spiritual energy, but the consequences could have been unimaginable if it had affected his body. Moments later, the old man in green withdrew the flying sword and slowly said, "My essence is time itself." Upon hearing this, the elder took a deep breath, his expression serious, and remarked, "What a powerful divine realm essence! If you reach the pinnacle in this life, the power of this essence will be immeasurable." The elder then handed over the ancestral spirit token, saying, "Take it," and immediately he and Wang Lin disappeared in an instant. When they reappeared, the two were already in the capital city. After bidding farewell to the elder, Wang Lin returned to the wood carving shop and began quietly reflecting on the essences of the three experts he had encountered. He pondered the middle-aged man's realm of detachment, the old jade's realm of comfort, and the old green mountain man's realm of time. These essences echoed in Wang Lin's mind, and gradually he started to grasp a small part of their meaning. He realized that an essence is naturally formed through one's understanding of the Tao, influenced by personal life experiences. This led him to question, what would his own essence be? With this thought in mind, Wang Lin picked up his carving knife and began sculpting. Wood chips flew from his hands as the knife moved fluidly. Despite spending a year on the project, Wang Lin only managed to carve statues of the middle-aged man and the old jade, but he still felt something was missing, the essence. The passage of time went by swiftly, and another 10 years flew by. Wang Lin's hair had turned gray, and his once straight posture had slightly hunched. During this time, he managed to carve one more statue, that of the old green mountain man, but he still couldn't capture the essence of time in his work. One day, Wang Lin opened the door of his shop, sat on a chair, and quietly watched the passers-by. Soon after, a 4-year-old child carrying a wine jug ran from the sawmill across the street and, in a childish voice, said to Wang Lin, "Grandpa Wang, I brought you the wine I stole for you. Where's my candy?" Hearing this, Wang Lin smiled faintly and tossed a small pill to the child, who eagerly swallowed it, exclaiming how good the candy was and how warm it made him feel. The child then asked, "Grandpa Wang, is this wine good? I see you drink it every day." Wang Lin patted the child's head and smiled, but didn't answer. At the same time, a strong man emerged from the blacksmith shop and approached Wang Lin, concern filling his eyes. "Uncle Wang," the man said, "you shouldn't drink any more today." Wang Lin chuckled and responded, "All right, just one sip today, no more after that." He then inquired about the man's father, to which the man Donghua solemnly replied, "It's the old illness, but it's nothing serious." Wang Lin sighed softly and said, "The cycle of mortal life is something I cannot interfere with, as birth, aging, sickness, and death are part of the Tao." 6 years ago, Donghua had married the daughter of Mr. Zhao, the tailor shop's owner, and the little boy was their son. The child clung to Wang Lin's arm and curiously asked again, "Grandpa Wang, you still haven't told me if the wine is good." Donghua sighed, saying, "Your Grandpa Wang isn't drinking wine, he's drinking life." Wang Lin gave Donghua an approving look, patted his arm gently, and said, "Take the child and go home. I'm going for a walk down the street." Donghua then snatched the wine jug from Wang Lin's hand, put it back in the wood carving shop, and closed the door, reminding Wang Lin, "You promised me no more drinking today." Wang Lin smiled and nodded, then turned and walked toward the street corner. Donghua watched Wang Lin's slightly weary figure and sighed softly, before taking the child's hand and returning to the sawmill. Wang Lin strolled down the street where he had lived for over a decade, feeling deeply emotional. But before long, the shopkeepers began approaching him, trembling as they pleaded with him. Looking at the neighbors around him, Wang Lin felt a faint, bitter smile in his heart. It turned out that, unknowingly, almost all the residents of this street owed him money. Whenever a shop owner was in urgent need of money, they would approach Wang Lin. They transferred their shops to him, knowing his kind and understanding nature. As a result, many delayed paying rent, which became a habit over time. However, Wang Lin didn't mind, allowing it to be and considering it part of his journey to understanding the Tao. After a brief moment of thought, he waved his hand and declared, "No rent collection today. Everyone, go back to your business." The shopkeepers sighed in relief and returned to their shops. Wang Lin continued walking forward with his hands behind his back and soon reached the street corner. At that moment, Shu Tao arrived on horseback, visibly hurried. As soon as he saw Wang Lin, he dismounted and knelt, pleading, "Mr. Wang, save me." Shu Tao, coughing up blood, explained breathlessly what had happened. It turned out that the heir of the Southern King had unknowingly offended a powerful cultivator. When the cultivator appeared, all the surrounding practitioners fled, unwilling to interfere. Now the heir was hiding in the palace, which was preventing the cultivator from storming in, but he was venting his fury on the heir's servants. Severely injured, Shu Tao had come to Wang Lin as his last hope. As they were talking, a young, arrogant cultivator in a red robe appeared at the end of the street. Upon seeing him, Shu Tao began trembling and vomited more blood before collapsing unconscious. The cultivator sneered, glanced at Wang Lin, and with a wave of his right hand, summoned a giant black skull that rushed toward Shu Tao and Wang Lin. In the young cultivator's mind, even though Wang Lin appeared mortal, the fact that Shu Tao had sought his protection at such a critical moment indicated there was something unusual about their relationship. Thus, he decided to kill them both, assuming his master would bear the blame for killing mortals. Wang Lin frowned slightly. If the cultivator had only targeted Shu Tao, he wouldn't have intervened. Though Shu Tao had always respected him, Wang Lin didn't want to disturb his peaceful state of mind over such a trivial matter. However, the audacity of this mere qi condensation cultivator involving him was another matter. Without changing his expression, Wang Lin waved his right hand, summoning the demon Shu Liguo, who immediately rushed out and swallowed the black skull in one bite. The young cultivator was instantly shaken, spat blood, and fled in a panic. Wang Lin watched him run away without pursuing. Meanwhile, the wounded young cultivator fled in panic to a Taoist temple in Chengdu, the very place where his sect resided. Upon arrival, he immediately knelt before his master, crying, "Master, my life-bound Rakshasa was destroyed. Please avenge me." A large, round-faced cultivator slowly opened his eyes and, with a flick of his sleeve, restored the young cultivator's damaged spirit. He calmly asked, "Tell me everything in detail." The young cultivator exaggerated the events, claiming Wang Lin was arrogant and overbearing. He said that even after revealing his master's name, Wang Lin still attacked him. However, the master wasn't easily fooled. He knew his disciple was lying, but remained composed. "Are you sure," he asked, "that this man appeared like a mortal at first, with no spiritual power?" The young cultivator eagerly nodded. "Yes, master. At first, I thought he was just a mortal." Hearing this, a strange glimmer flashed in the master's eyes, and he ordered the young cultivator to lead the way. Feeling as if he had eaten honey, the young cultivator excitedly led his master. The other disciples in the temple sighed. Master spoils this junior disciple too much. No matter what trouble he causes, Master always helps him. Whoever provoked him this time is in for some serious trouble. As they walked, the young cultivator's face displayed pride, knowing that he was his master's favorite, possibly because he was the last disciple accepted. For years, no matter what the issue was, his master always resolved it immediately, and this time he was certain that Wang Lin would be completely destroyed. As they were walking, the round-faced cultivator suddenly stopped at a candy vendor's stall. After carefully selecting a candy figure, he handed it to his disciple, who was puzzled. He didn't understand why his master would buy him candy. The round-faced cultivator sighed and said, "I still remember the first time I saw you as a child, fighting with other kids for candy. Perhaps you've forgotten." Moved by this, the young cultivator couldn't help but recall his difficult childhood and thought to himself, "If it weren't for Master, I probably wouldn't be alive today." His eyes reddened slightly and he said, "I haven't forgotten, Master. You saved me and taught me everything." The round-faced cultivator patted his disciple's head and said, "Let's go. Take me to see the person who hurt you." The young cultivator carefully placed the candy figure into his storage bag, secretly deciding to treasure it forever as a gift from his master. As night fell, Shu Tao, who had been recovering in the woodcarving shop, slowly opened his eyes. Seeing Wang Lin nearby, he immediately knelt, filled with gratitude. Wang Lin, maintaining a calm expression, said, "I saved your life to resolve the karmic debt of the past 16 years. You may go?" Shu Tao kowtowed repeatedly, expressing his deep thanks. But as he was about to leave, Wang Lin suddenly frowned and called him back. "Shu Tao, come here. There's no need to close the door. Stand aside. Someone is coming to visit." Before long, the round-faced cultivator and the young disciple entered the shop. Shu Tao's face turned pale, recognizing the round-faced cultivator as the powerful expert who had forced the Southern King's heir into hiding. The young disciple sneered, pointing at Wang Lin. "Master, he's the one who injured me." To the young cultivator's surprise, the round-faced cultivator's gaze didn't land on Wang Lin, but rather on two wood carvings sitting on the table. These carvings depicted the middle-aged man and the old jade from the Baiyun Sect. After a brief pause, the round-faced cultivator smiled slightly and picked up a cup before sitting across from Wang Lin. "Would you be willing to let me have a drink?" he asked. Wang Lin casually handed him the wine jug. The cultivator filled his cup and took a sip, commenting, "Ah, fine and clear wine. Your cultivation level is indeed a bit higher than mine. I must admire that." Wang Lin chuckled lightly and replied, "If your disciple is undergoing mortal trials and trying to comprehend the Tao, then his path is much like mine. There's no need to envy others in this process." The round-faced cultivator smiled slyly and said, "How about we have a friendly competition? Let's see who can first step into the elusive divine realm. What do you think?" Wang Lin glanced at him with a faint smile and replied, "If I were to develop a competitive heart, I fear I would never reach the divine realm in this lifetime. Such words are dangerous indeed." The round-faced cultivator laughed heartily, cupping his hands in respect, and said, "I didn't expect to meet someone like you here in the capital city. I am Zhou Wutai. How should I address you, my friend?" Raising the wine jug and taking a sip, Wang Lin responded, "Wang Lin." Zhou Wutai continued, "Wang Daoist, I'm sure that within 100 years you will ascend to the divine realm. Allow me to congratulate you in advance." Wang Lin replied casually, "You're speaking too soon, Zhou Daoist. From what I see, whether you can reach the divine realm within 100 years is uncertain, but your disciple, on the other hand, may not escape death." Zhou Wutai's eyes flickered, and he fell silent. The young disciple beside him snorted lightly, thinking to himself, how ungrateful. Master congratulated him out of goodwill, but he responded disrespectfully. As a mere qi condensation cultivator, how could he possibly understand the deeper meaning? Despite this, Zhou Wutai didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled bitterly and asked, "Why did Wang Lin say my disciple is destined to die?" To see how Wang Lin's trials will unfold, fellow Taoists, please like the video and stay tuned for the next episode.